anyway, again, you may wondering why I'm using this event. Well, for when I run this game on any marathon, I use it to meet an incentive called Sombrero Percent, which basically means that I'm gonna be using this big sombrero because not so many people know it, but this sombrero has the special ability of giving speedrunning powers to whoever to use. This sombrero just have two problems. First of all, it just gives you powers to run Snow Brothers, and the second thing is that it just worked for me. So if you see that Snow Brothers and my name, GhostSenpai, is scheduled on a marathon, probably I'm gonna be having the sombrero incentive. So if you wanna watch it there, just consider to donate. I'm gonna do this for free and for the love of retro games here at Retrothon 2021. But well, I think that we are ready to start. I'm just gonna check that everything is set up on my side. Okay, we are ready here. So let's open this real quick and let's begin with the run with Snow Brothers. So, well, let's pretend that somebody else is gonna be controlling the timer, but things that I'm gonna be doing that. Let's begin with the run, right? Okay. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, the first thing that I'm gonna be doing is something I like to call position manipulation. On many video games, we are used that. Okay, I started. Many video games we are used that that usually, depending of the cycles, RNG or stuff like that, and the enemies are gonna have their respective actions. But in this game is slightly different because what am I doing is that it's gonna look like if I'm playing normally, but what am I doing really is that I'm setting up the position of the enemies because they are based depending on your positions. And with this I can get some kind of manipulations like here that I got not one but 2 red potions. The red potion is really important and you can get it here. And also I was really lucky to get the blue potion, which is supposed that I'm gonna get on this 3rd stage, but I was lucky to get it on the last stage. So this is a pretty good start, a pretty decent one, considering that I haven't moved properly on the stage. And now I got the yellow potion. This is the magic of the sombrero, ladies and gentlemen, in any kind of form on this planet. Why? Because now I have all the 3 power-ups and just a dumb mistake can make that everything throws. So it's time to pray for a good earnings. So, well, now I think that I don't have nothing to explain, like, guess I'm just gonna be moving to some specific spots. I suppose that I'm just gonna set up some stuff here in order to move the enemies, because depending on your position on the stage, depending on where you move, depending on your inputs, the enemies are gonna follow some specific patterns. So what I'm trying to do is that at the same time that I'm moving, I'm gonna be doing special setups in order to make that enemies go to specific spots on the screen. And here comes the money. I just got 3 bills because I wanted to go for the candy. That doesn't give you nothing, but I just have done that for main purposes and because yes, let's showcase everything that we can. So I think that now I have a good amount of time to talk about the mechanical kind of stuff. As you can see, the concept of this game is kind of similar to Bubble Bubble, but instead of using bubbles, instead of having bubbles, instead of put your enemies into bubbles, you turn them into snowballs. So you throw the snowballs, that's everything. And if a rolling snowball touches an enemy, that enemy is gonna fly in the stage and gonna get turned into an item. So in some specific stages, most at the beginning of the run, I'm trying to do a specific setup in order to have less the red and blue potion. Red potion makes you go faster. Blue potion increases your shooting power, making that just with 2 shootings you can freeze your enemies and turn them into a snowball. And yellow potion, the last but not less important, increases your distance, your shooting distance. And our first boss, not a big deal, just 3 hits and we're gonna be done. Sorry, 6 hits and we're gonna be done. Or sometimes some throw movement like that can happen. Oh, there we go. First boss. So yeah, this is like a Bubble Bubble but with snowballs, and the game was developed by Toplan. Capcom just released the game outside of Japan. Toplan was the original developer for this game for the 1990s arcade version in the 1991 NES/Famicom version, and now something exclusive to the NES release, the Game Boy Machine. We need to try to get as most X letters as we can, or crosses, whatever you want to call that, because those gives you no points. you can get also a letter from the snowboard. In this case, I got the S and the N. Each of those give me 10k points. And also, you can get a 1-up that is gonna keep you obviously an extra life, but at the same time, it's gonna give you 50,000 points. So the most thing you want to get is to have as much X letters as you can, because that doesn't give you points. The most points you get on the game machine, the most slow you're gonna be moving to the next stage. My PB in this game is 1823. I achieved that on an emulator on last year, and I'm playing right now on a console. My PB on a console has been 1853, which it's close to my previous PB, which was 1851, which was tied with the former world record. A big problem this game has is that it doesn't matter how much you try to optimize this. The last boss is fully RNG based, and that has killed a lot of my paces and a lot of world record paces, unfortunately. And now we got the fourth potion, the green one, which is just a kind of bonus one that you can get in just few stages, like in this case the floor 55 or stage 55. I don't know if I can define this as floors or stages, mostly since okay, I got another one. This is really interesting. This is the first time in a row that I get 2 of these potions. I don't know, that's weird. I think this is the first time that I got a blue potion on stage 16. I wasn't aware that you were able to get them there. But anyways, going up with the run, here it's really important to get both of the blue and red potions. The yellow potion is kind of optional. You can also complete a game with a decent time without the yellow potion. And it's just in some cases that I don't have some of the potions, or if I unfortunately die due to some mistake, there's a high chance that I am gonna go for the backup strat. Fortunately, this game has some stages that have some backup strats, and I'm gonna give to you some items if you manipulate the enemies correctly. And now second boss, and what about Venom? In this case, we won this big frog spawns on the top. It doesn't matter. There we go. Second boss defeated. This is also slightly modified comparing this with the arcade release. Because in the arcade release, the frog spawns all the time on the floor and then slowly starts to move to the top of the screen. But due to any limitations, instead of that, it disappears and it can appear on the top or on the lower section. That's RNG based. And now I got the O and W. I got a 1-up with the Snow World, and also got another 1-up getting a Snow Road there. So that was really interesting. I mean, it's not a problem if you get extra lives with the letters, because you're just gonna get the points that the letters give to you. The problems are if you get the lives directly, because those lives obviously give you a 1-up and at the same time give you 50,000 points. So this was not a bad pattern at all, but just getting an extra 1-up like that on the gamble machine, it's really bad. You just lose a couple of seconds, not so much, but for the top time in any game, that's something that is really important. Now it's suppose that on this section I don't have so much things to say, so on any beneficial marathon I used to give some time for some announcements. But we can talk about the history of the game and also about this sumo guy that it's gonna just be blinking and then it's gonna disappear. I was gonna die if I got close to that pumpkin ghost. Okay, stage 25 really important that I go first for the enemy on the top left instead of the top right, because the top right has higher chances of throwing you a knife. So this is something really important. A little speed strat that I can give to the people who can be oh, that's a little speed trick, just in case that somebody wanna learn this game in the future. And well, the problem with this stage is we see these extended platforms that in order to reach that point, as you have seen, in order to reach those spots, we need to use a snowball to those sections. So in some parts we need to be quick for that, or there's other stages such as say the floor 28, where this can be a real nightmare. because 2 enemies spawns on the top. These tornado enemies. Okay, one of them went down. That was not bad. Not bad at all. And I was able to defeat the enemies before the sumo guys started to throw some white balls. Also can do. Now we need to get focus here because recently I have been died on very dumb ways here. Okay, there we go. I haven't died because that, for some reason, on my recent practices and on my that I have made with this game, I have been dying with that extremely. I don't know why. Looks like the controller has been trolling them. Now the birds. There we go. I'm gonna explain this after I defeat this. Because it's supposed that with the 3 hits, those guys disappears, but why that bird stays alive? I'm gonna explain that. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's gonna take some extra time. Not a good position. I'm not gonna take the risk there. I'm losing here some time, but I wanna do this as safe as I can. And there we go. It's supposed that with the 3 hits, this wasn't bad. I have lost some time trying to do this, but I tried just to do this safe in order to do the power up, so this was decent. So it's supposed that this bird requires 3 hits each of those. With an OWO opportunity, you can get an OWO here, and you have seen slightly that the game was so close to give us the OWO. But that wasn't a possibility. Well, that was a possibility, but we haven't seen that, unfortunately, so RIP to all the OWO fans. Get back to the game. 3 hits for each bird, but the way that the rolling snowballs make damages to the bosses is kind of weird, because if those snowballs are so close to the enemies, to the bosses, there's a high chance that for some reason they don't receive so much damage, or sometimes when they're so far away, also they don't used to do so much damage. I don't know the reason behind that, but that happens. It happens for something. I don't know the reason behind that, but it just happened. And in that case, that was why after 3 hits, the 3rd bird kept alive and just with regular shooting side defeated. It's really good when you get that, because as you have seen, the bird throws eggs, and you can freeze those eggs in order to throw the snowballs. I know that hasn't sounded properly, but I need to make a disclaimer. I haven't said that with bad intentions. Although you can apologize to me. If sometimes I mess up with words, I used to say it all the time. This is a disclaimer. I'm not a native English speaker, so it's gonna be normal that sometimes I make some mistakes. But I try to do my best. So getting back to that, it's good on the 3rd boss that you make it 3 hits to the 1st bird and the bird keeps alive, because with that you get the eggs. The egg releases some chickens you can freeze and you can throw against the other bird. So that's something really good. Unfortunately, I haven't set up that on the best way possible, losing some time, but I prefer to do that on a safer way. Obviously, for a PvP, that wasn't gonna be good, because you can lose a good amount of time on that boss fight. But since this is a marathon, the important thing is just to make a good showcase of this, so I'm thinking that I can pass like a thing a lot. Nothing that really matter. And at the same time, on these stages, I don't have so much things to say. The only bad thing here is that now an item spawn on the middle of stage, and I just can't reach this section without asking help. The problem here is that comparing this with other versions of the game, if you get items, you have defeated the enemies, you're gonna be moved quickly to the next stage. The game's gonna ignore that there are some items left. But on the NES release, you need to catch all the items, so that's the reason why after I defeat an enemy, I try to go for those items, because the most time I keep the items on screen, the most slow I'm going to be moving to the next one. Now, floor 39, this is a really big pace killer, or it was considered like that in the past, like for me. So I just discovered that if you keep it quiet here, you're going to get a decent pattern with the enemies, because what we try to do is that we try to keep them here. We need to, well, the problem here is that if you go to the middle section of the stage, you cannot get outside of this. So if you get stuck with enemies, that's going to be like a real problem. I used to do another setup trying to manipulate the enemies, but then I discovered accidentally that if you don't move for a while, the monkeys are going to go outside of those sections, so it's going to be easy for you to defeat them. And now another boss that was slightly modified from the arcade release. In the arcade release, we have 2 of these gags, and you cannot freeze these fire enemies. When you shoot to them, they turn into a fireball. And here, due to any limitations, we just have 1 boss instead of 2. And in the arcade release, the enemies that you can freeze are falling down from the top screen. And it's very bubble because again, the concept is similar. This is like bubble, but without instead of dragons, we have humans with a snowman first, freezing enemies and turning them into. And now reap any possibility. We have seen the most closest of them after the 3rd boss. We are not gonna watch that. And now stages from 41 to 49, there's a higher chance that I can get the blue potions here. So as a backup, this is something really good. And there are a lot of different combinations here you can get on the gaming machine. But I know that everybody loves the oboe. Now that I'm thinking about this, it has been a long time since I haven't got an oboe. And okay, I'm wasting a good amount of time here trying to do this. And also a signal that you are taking a good amount of time to complete these stages. I have wasted a good amount of time here anyway. That's a signal that you have took a good amount of time to complete a floor or a stage or whatever you want to call it, because the game calls these floors after each those screens, and after a boss fight, it refers to these things as stages or I don't know. So if a pumpkin ghost appears, that's a signal that you need to be quick in order to complete the stage. Otherwise, that ghost is gonna try to chase you. If you shoot that ghost, the ghost is gonna respawn on another point of the map, and after a while, it's gonna release some little ghosts that are gonna be chasing you. So obviously that means that you are in danger. I don't know how the accent is for the meme that I want to use on English, but in Latin America, I'm talking about SpongeBob. The senseis "Escapa de ahí, esponja," which was the episode when. SpongeBob was gonna be something like a kind of a guard or I don't know in the classroom on the boarding school, but then he made a big speech that took all the class, so he wasn't able to do his duties properly. So Mr. Spoff decided to let him to use the uniform for the rest of the day. And then he started to make a big mess on streets. I don't know how to explain another way those episodes, but what I try to say is that every time that you see that a pumpkin goes, you just need to run away and be quick in order to defeat the enemies. But if you get stuck in the stages where you need a snowball to get out there, and that's a signal that you're gonna die directly. Because if you get stuck on those sections, the enemies are not gonna go against you. They're gonna go just to that section after the pumpkin ghost has killed you. Yeah, son of their mothers, but we need to remember that these games were from the times where games were really, really hard, because mostly in arcades, they try to squeeze all your money. And well, last boss, this is also different from the arcade release. This can be considered as the only faster stage on the NES version when you the arcade release. And I got a very bad energy at the beginning with 3 firewalls. Because what we want to get is this is bad. Okay, because what we want to get are those enemies, so that's the RNG factor about what you're gonna get on bubbles. And at the same time, if I see an item, I'm gonna try to catch it, besides I have those items, because otherwise the items are gonna get stuck on the screen. And the most items you have on the screen, the less bubbles you're gonna get. So you can get a bubble, you can get a firewall, you can get an item, or you can get nothing. And I have died because I wasn't really quick with my meshing, unfortunately. And I got the glitch. I'm gonna explain what is this. For some reason, if you mash a lot your buttons randomly, and you die, you can keep your items. I thought for a while that this was like an emulator-only glitch, but I'm doing this on console, so yes. Why does this happen? I don't know. But if you keep mashing randomly your buttons, you can keep your I don't know why does that happen, but it happens. I think that actual world record has. I got that, and I don't know what's happening with my meshing. I'm not doing like a very good job. But anyways, if I... Okay, I can't keep again the... Okay, this is really interesting. It's really weird that if you die twice, you can keep the power-ups. So here I'm having definitely a very awful RNG, because I'm not getting the enemies that I need to defeat this guy. So each of these guys requires 10 hits, so... What else can we do? What else can we see? We need to keep meshing and meshing and meshing and meshing and meshing and meshing. And now you are watching the main reason why it's a big headache to get the world record of this game. I have been chasing the world record for 3 years. The most close that I have been with the world record has been getting second place. Because if you compare my previous PBs and also my actual PB with the actual record, I'm slightly faster in many sections. The only problem is on the last boss, because for some reason the actual record had a very godly RNG on the last boss. And I'm not getting a good RNG here, definitely. But again, since this is a marathon, it doesn't matter that much. And I have died twice here on the last stage, and I have to keep my power up, so that wasn't bad at all. But yes, if you really like mashing your buttons, it's gonna be a good game for you. And again, I have died because I haven't calculated properly where I was gonna what's gonna fall down on the floor. Okay, and I haven't got the glitch, but we can get the power up, so I'm gonna try to chase them whenever I can. And also, you need to be careful when you throw the bubbles, because sometimes they can get hit with the bubbles, and at the end you cannot throw them properly. Please give me some power-ups. Give me some bubbles with power-up that I can catch. Okay. That wasn't bad at all, and I was in relief. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Snowboarders experience. Now this is making me wondering why I'm the only person who cares about this game. What an awful RNG! I don't have explanations for this. This is just an awful RNG. I don't have a best way to explain this. Just an awful RNG. I'm not getting the required enemies, because sometimes I can get a big amount of enemies up to 3 for each round of bubbles, but I'm getting just few enemies, and I'm trying to stay alive. Okay, I have to defeat the first guy. The time's gonna finish once I defeat the other boss. Yes. And also, it doesn't matter now if items get stuck on screen, because now I have to always. That's why you try to alternate the amount of hits that you make for each boss. Kidding me? What the heck, dude? I'm gonna be really mad if that was my last hit. Yes. And Bob decided to troll me. Nice. But yes, the time finishes when you defeat bosses. And I was trying to do this as safe as I can. I died a couple of times, but I haven't used any continues because I got 2 extra lives with the gambling machines. One I'm getting it directly, and the other one getting the letters. And now I have tried to do this because every time that I run this game in a marathon, I try to show this screen, because this is like the real ending of the game. This is only gets shown to you if you complete the game without using any of the 9 continues that the game has. And if you play in a multiplayer mode, you share those continues with other player. That's like a real challenge to complete. Sometimes it's more harder to complete this game on multiplayer than on single player. And well, if I should have used a less one continue, the princess says her warning, sorry about that, but again, NES era games. If you use a less one continue, when you defeat the King's Coach, which was the enemy that kidnapped Terry and Tara. Or let me go about the princess's world. Well, it's more called because I forgot. I used to forget their names. So those are called, I think they are Terry and... Okay, Terry and Nina. I don't know what else in that. But wait. Brothers are Nick and Tom. Princess are Terry and Tina. If you play the game just using less and continue, the ending you're gonna get is that you defeat the King's Court that kidnapped the princesses. and you save the princess and the pieces back in the kingdom. But in this case, since I haven't used any of the continues, I got the real ending of the game, which is if you defeat the evil king's court, you rescue princesses, you get rid from the snowman curse, and at the same time, but Nick and Tom get married with the princesses. So this, and also the pieces back in the kingdom. So this is like the ending of the game. So now, quick shout outs before we can keep going with the NES vlog. First of all, shout outs to the